Yeah, so originally I started to work with you because I saw an Instagram post of how you were talking about changing your beliefs and how when you change your beliefs, you change your thoughts, you change your words, you change your actions, and that changes the results that you get overall in your life. And I was like, wow, that really resonates with me. I'm somebody who's been pretty successful in business, and I've wanted to really dial in my mindset around anxiety and different fears that I've had, and really work with somebody who's going to be able to help me to reshape those beliefs. And actually, speaking on that a little more too, is that I had done things like BetterHelp, which is really just talking to somebody for 30 minutes or something once a week, and all we did was just talk about my problems, and then I always left those meetings like, okay, well now I've just really like driven home my problems, my problems, my problems. And instead, it wasn't really like focused more on the solutions and how to fix these mindsets that I had or these beliefs that I've had. And so that was like, okay, that's not going to work.
Hmm.
And I had done things like hypnosis, and I've done a little bit of meditation. But the thing with hypnosis or meditation in general is that it's you got to be consistent, right? It's not just like boom, you're fixed or anything like that, and then you've
Yeah.
all of a sudden changed your beliefs. You really got to like put in that work in the effort and to work on it daily. So
Hmm.
um
Yeah,
so anyway,
I think
I,
that's a big misconception that people have when everyone's trying to look for a quick fix or they're trying to look for that one thing that's going to be the silver bullet that solves all the problems. But I think you hit the nail on the head, right? Doesn't matter what it is, consistency is key.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. Sweet. Okay, cool. So just as a bit of a snapshot. So you've had some success in business. You've tried different things in the past to help with your mental health, like BetterHelp and hypnosis, and even a little bit of meditation. But you never really were consistent with it, or you just didn't find it helpful, because it was like talking about the problems and keeping you in that reactive state as opposed to the proactive state. So yeah, give us a bit more of a snapshot. Like you're from the originally from the US, but now you're living in Puerto
Yep.
Rico, uh,
Yeah,
for tax
exactly.
purposes, right?
Yes, exactly. So yeah, I moved out to Puerto Rico, and that was another thing. When I moved to Puerto Rico, it was like I was leaving my friends, my family. My family lives like 12 hours away from me, so I kind of lost a lot of my sense of community. And one of my biggest core values, which I've learned as some of the exercises that you and I have done, is is family and friends and being around those people and really, caring about them, doing, activities with them. And I lost a lot of that when I moved to Puerto Rico. So it was like a big transition. And I had moved here a couple years ago, and I kind of really found myself isolating a lot more because, I had lost that community, but also just because I was, focused a lot on business and stuff like that, which, has done well for me and all, but I was really kind of lost in that. And it wasn't just like with anxiety and community. I mean, it was health. It was uh, everything, fitness, all that stuff.
Yeah. So
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 one of the
you went super focused into business, and then you had
yeah,
a lot of the other areas of your life just went to the wayside, and started
yeah,
to kind
the
of
crumble.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think one of the first parts is like knowing that you have things that you need to work on, right?
Yeah.
And once you like identify those, it's like, okay, maybe try to do it yourself. You try and do it yourself, and then 6 months later, you're like, I'm still in the same spot.
Yeah,
And then at that point, like,
hmm.
I need help, right? I need some guidance.
That's a big problem people have when it comes to mindset is like a lot of people, I hear it all the time. I should be able to just fix this by myself, right? Like it's my
Yeah.
mind. I should be able to fix it by myself. And there's like that almost like a little bit of a pride around that. It's like, oh, I should be able to fix this problem. But yeah, as you've experienced, once you do reach out and you do get some help and it's like proactive, and forward focused, it can be life changing. So why don't you tell us
Absolutely.
about, yeah, what have you found as the biggest, needle movers from working with me? So the things that have really helped you create that transformation, and yeah, what that transformation has looked like for you since we started working together.
Yeah, so one of the main things is, is my beliefs, right? That was one of the things that we worked on. We worked on what are my current beliefs, and then what are my ideal beliefs.
Yeah.
And I started to realize that, like, as I was doing these exercises with you, I was like, oh my gosh, these are bad beliefs, but they are my beliefs.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's one of the things that we did that has been really helpful. And that was able to help me realize, like, okay, I need to fix this, I need to fix this, I need to fix this. Um, and also what you've shown me too is aligning, like, my true self and my values, and then figuring out how I can incorporate those into my life.
Mm.
Like what my ideal day is. Like what time do I wake up? Like what you've done with me is not just anxiety to alignment, right?
Yeah.
You've helped me with all sorts of areas, my relationships, my business, how I prioritize things, my mindset, the beliefs, like what you've helped me with is so much more than just with my anxiety, which is what it originally started with.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I think
so,
I
yeah,
think I think that's that, a lot of that ends up being the case, right? Because that's my worldview and my belief is like anxiety is just showing you where things are out of alignment, right? So oftentimes people come to work with me because they have this bleeding neck problem of the anxiety or the stress, or their emotions, or they're burnt out or whatever it is. That's like the immediate problem, and we can solve that problem pretty quickly. Like I don't know, I remember you and I, we solved that problem within the first few months, I'm pretty sure. Like it was
yeah,
kind
yeah,
of, it was a few months, and that was not a problem anymore. And then we kind of expanded onto, what comes after that? Like what happens after you realize that you can use your mind and your beliefs to overcome something like anxiety? Well, then you realize, well, maybe my mind is really, really powerful. And maybe there's
yeah,
other beliefs and there's other ways I could look at things. And then, yeah, like you just said, then we start to look at all of your life and go, okay, cool. How would you love to be living? And that's a
yeah,
different kind of, that's a different kind of question to ask.
yeah, absolutely. And one of the things I want to talk about with that is the accountability factor.
Mm.
So, like when it's like one thing for you to, like, go to the gym and, like, lift some weights and then, like, go home when you're tired. But
Mm.
it's that coach that's there who's like, no, you can go three more, you can go five more. No, what did you eat today? And I don't mean it in the sense of health and fitness, but I mean in the sense of accountability, where that coach is like, how are you doing with, like, for yourself? I didn't see you do the meditation today, or stuff like that, right? So
Yeah,
it's not like I'm
I'll call
do
you
that
out every
every
time we
time.
have every time we have a call. I'm always calling you out and just checking in on you.
Yeah, so and that's the stuff that I think is really important, right? Because when you do those actions, you create proof.
Mm.
And that proof is what helps you to change your beliefs.
Yeah.
And that is so key. And one of the biggest things that I think is important when you have a coach that's going to be there with you, continuing to
Yeah.
work on all of those different factors.
Yeah, yeah, because if you don't have that accountability, you've got no one checking in on you. Like you can easily
Yeah.
just lie to yourself, or you don't have any support to be building the new beliefs. And yeah, like you just mentioned the proof. Like that's one thing that I talk about a lot in my coaching. It's like building a stack of proof. If you want to build confidence, if you want to build yeah, a stronger mindset, you have to have proof. You can't just hope and wish for it, which I think a lot of people try to do, is hope and wish for it, and they wonder why am I struggling, or why aren't things getting better? Well, it's because you've got no proof, you've got no evidence that things are getting better, and so when you have a coach, you have some
Yeah.
accountability. We literally have our check-ins, and it's like cool, we are moving forward, and every week you have this
Yeah.
reference point, which is like I'm moving in the right direction. Over a period of time,
Yeah.
you start to really build that confidence up.
Yeah, absolutely. And one other thing to say on that is, let's say you had a fear of, like, public speaking, for example.
Hmm.
If you have that fear, every time that you have the opportunity to public speak, if you say in your mind, if you say, "Oh, I can't do that," and then the next time you have the opportunity, you say, "Oh, I'm too scared to do that." What you're doing is you're training your brain for the proof that you can't do it,
Mm.
right? So when you introduce like actually taking that action, showing yourself proof that you can do it,
Yeah.
then that is a reference point of, okay, I can do that.
Yeah.
And then you put yourself in that situation again and you do it, you show yourself no problem. It's
Yeah.
like eating
Yeah.
lunch with friends, or like, but yeah, I wanted to like really say that too, because like that we can train ourselves to do the good thing, but we can also train ourselves to do the bad thing. And that is thinking that you can't do something when you
Yeah.
totally could.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that's awesome, man. Yeah, that's a great point that you've made. Um, cool, dude. All right, well, why don't you tell us a little bit now about like, where you're at now and what have you noticed have been the biggest transformations for you? Because as you're speaking and even just what you just said then, like I know you've just come so far since we started in terms of your mindset and your beliefs and your positive, like your positive mindset. Like what you just said is incredible, right? And not a lot of people not a lot of people know that. Everyone just kind of they feel a little bit of nerve or they feel a little bit of fear or they feel a little bit of uncomfortableness and they turn away from it. But what you just said is just proof that you're leaning in, and so
Yeah.
that's a massive shift. So yeah, I'd love to know like what have you what do you think are the biggest transformations and the biggest takeaways that you've got and kind of how are you feeling now that we're kind of well into this coaching process together?
Yeah, and yeah, to just compound on exactly what you're saying, you had told me instead of going into these times where all of a sudden you feel anxious, instead of just saying, "Oh no," fight or flight, run away. Instead, just take it as a time to say, "Oh yes, this is. I'm going to take this opportunity and I'm going to learn from it. I'm going to actually." I'm going to change the outcome. I'm going to give myself the opportunity to give myself proof,
Mm.
whether it goes well or not.
Yeah.
But reframe the situation as instead of, oh no, I got to run, I got to get out of here, leave, fight or flight. But take it as an opportunity. I think that's one of the biggest things that I always think in my head every time I have any situation. And that's the other thing too is that you know, a lot of people say like, oh, you can cure anxiety and never have anxiety ever again.
Mm.
That's not something that you say. You
Mm.
say like, yeah, anxiety is something that could totally come up in your life again, but you'll know how to actually manage it
Yeah.
rather than it being something that, again, like the fight or flight, oh no, I got to get myself out of here.
Mm.
But you can actually learn to manage those emotions and take the opportunity to give yourself proof that it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
I didn't die doing public speaking or anything like that, right? I
Yeah.
came
Yeah.
out of it. It was fine.
Yeah.
Things like that. So I think that's one of the major things is reframing anxiety. And
Yeah.
it's kind of like, it sounds like a simple thing, but when you have like a coach that's working with you and is like, this is the new mindset that I want you to take in,
Mm.
you really like take it to heart more than like, just watching a video, right?
Yeah.
That's one thing.
Yeah, well, you,
Um,
you yeah, you watch countless videos. I watch countless YouTube videos as well. I get it, but it's kind of in one ear and out the other, and there's no one there like that. The person making the video is not necessarily giving you accountability unless you are, unless you're more engaged with that person through a process like coaching or something like that.
Yeah,
Mm.
exactly.
Mm.
And then the other thing I want to talk about too is like I had a major injury this year where I broke both of my arms, which was crazy. It was on a motorized scooter, and yeah, I had a terrible accident, and that was in the beginning of this year. And I remember just being in this mindset of like I'm an injured person.
Mm.
And it changed my belief, right? It changed all my beliefs about things. Like I wasn't able to move my elbow past like here.
Mm.
And then and it took like months and months and months. And all of that time I was thinking, oh my God, something went wrong with the surgery. I got to go find other specialists. I got to figure out what I'm going to do. Like this is like my life is totally changed in a matter of 1 second falling off the scooter, and I'm no longer going to be like able to do all these things that, like I couldn't even shower myself. Like
Mm.
it was pretty intense,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it was
I couldn't
crazy.
even, yeah, I don't want to get too much in detail, but I couldn't even wipe my own butt.
Yeah,
It was,
yeah,
I had like full-time nursing care in my house. Like it was pretty intense.
yeah, yeah.
Um, But anyways, I had remembered this one really crucial moment. And this was like a couple months into it. I went from being like able to go from here to like here. Just like a little bit of improvement. And I had told you, I was like, oh my God, I've totally decided I'm gonna be fine. Like I'm gonna be fine. I just need some more time. I need some more physical therapy,
Yeah,
which everybody told me,
yeah,
but I didn't believe it. I
yeah,
didn't believe it. That was my belief that I was broken forever.
yeah,
And you had mentioned to me like it's funny how just one belief change can shift everything in your life. And that was exactly what happened. I went from I'm an injured person, I can't even work to like, oh, I'm gonna be fine. Like I'm gonna be totally fine.
yeah,
And it was really, really cool. That was a really good belief change on that side of things. And
yeah.
then I don't know if you want to ask me another thing, but I was gonna mention too the belief changes about my health and fitness as well. Do you want me to go into that?
Yeah, well, last thing I was going to mention is like, yeah, just give us a snapshot of where you're at now. Because, yeah, we have been working together for a while. You've had a lot of growth in a lot of different areas, and now you're addressing other areas, and it's so cool. So
Yeah.
give us a bit of a present snapshot of like, what's going on for you right now and where you're at now.
Yeah, so yeah, even to add on the fitness stuff too, like I was when I was, I first moved to Puerto Rico, I was like renting, things like that. I knew I needed to buy a house. That was one of the things that I was even fearful of. I don't know how
You
any of
didn't
that
even, yeah,
stuff
you
works.
didn't even have the house when we started working together. You have literally
Yeah.
gone and bought a house and done so much, dude. That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was cool too. And I remember being like fearful of even just to go sign the paperwork because I don't know. Everything's all in another language. And I'm like, gosh, I hope it all goes well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I ended up buying a house. I've been renovating it for like 6 or 7 months now and put a bunch of money into it. And I remember telling you, like, I just can't wait till it's all finished, which it's going to be in a couple of weeks here.
Yeah.
And I'm going to lay down in the bed in there and go, like
Yeah.
look at how, like I can't believe I have my own house now. Like this is crazy. Like
Yeah.
I've accomplished a lot.
I want to add
Um so,
a little note in here, just while it's on my mind, and I hope you don't mind me sharing. But you even, yeah, one of the big milestones that you hit because you used to carry around the Valium, I think, was it a lot?
yeah, a lot of I would carry around Xanax and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. When we first started, you told me that
Yeah.
you said, "Oh, I had Xanax and Valium and those kinds of things." And I remember a big milestone is like you said, "Okay, I stopped like going out and having that with me all the time." And
Yeah,
and yeah,
that is true.
you've been able to taper off some of those medications and stuff like that. And yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's a huge goal as well. And it ties into the health and fitness stuff that you're doing now as well. Because yeah, tell us about that. Tell us about what you're doing now.
Yeah, so I mean that's another thing like with anxiety, I'd always just use like Xanax as a backup.
Hmm.
And I've just like started to really like learn how to get through that without it.
Hmm.
And I've a lot of it is actually more so like on the front end, right? So like the backup plan was like, take the anxiety medication when I'm feeling like anxiety. But now I'm having less of it on the front end. So I'm having less opportunities of being anxious, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. So you're not
Because
even having the
I've
opportunity to
changed.
take it, even if you wanted to. Which,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
And I still have like here and there, throughout the year, but it's not like, a multiple times a month type of thing. It's like, oh, it's a lot more rare.
yeah, yeah,
So I'm not really, yeah, I've really overcome a lot of the fears that I've had.
yeah, yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Now you're working on more of a holistic health as well. Like you've even changed some, like that's a lot of belief change there. But you're also now changing some beliefs around health and fitness and stuff like that as well. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that while we, come towards the end of this interview?
Yeah, so I think in the okay, this was actually just maybe like a month or two ago.
Mm,
We had a call where I was like, you know, I was telling you I wanted to start tackling my health and fitness,
yeah.
and we started to break down like what are my beliefs around that. And like for one, I know this sounds ridiculous, but I'm like, oh, I'm 34 now. I mean, in my 20s, I could get lean fast and it was easy. I'm finished. I'm finished at 34, right? It's a
Yeah.
dumb belief, but that was the belief that I had.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was like the other belief was like, oh, I'm gonna need to like sleep way more. I don't know why that was a thing. I'm sleeping just fine, 8 hours, 7, 8 hours. That's was completely false.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, thought another one was like my belief was like if I work out more, I'm not gonna be able to have the same time that I have that I devote to business and other things, right? That's also false. I've found out that that work takes the time that you give it,
Mm.
right? So if you give yourself 2 hours and you do the work in that 2 hours, you can get it done. But if you give yourself all day, you're going to spend all day doing a task that should only take 2 hours.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. I've been making all my meals. I never thought I could do that from home. I was like, oh, it would take too long. I figured out what to do. It's ground meat versus chicken breast. Takes a lot easier. It's a lot easier to cook. You can get it done in 10, 15 minutes, back to work, you
I think
know?
the core
So
message there is like a lot of your beliefs that you had were just false, right? So like a lot
yeah,
of and I think people don't realize this. A lot of the thoughts that you think and a lot of beliefs that you have, sometimes they're just false. They're just not true. Like and
yeah.
so when you can have that self-awareness to check that and go, okay, well, if that's not true, well, what would be a better belief that I could have that would be true and that would be, really serving me in a positive way.
Yeah, exactly. And so there was that. And then I started doing like a fitness program, and I've been doing about 22 days now, or 21 days, like something like that, 21 or 22 days of 1,500 calories every single day. So I'm in like a, I don't know, 700 or 800 calorie deficit
Yeah.
every single day.
Yeah.
And I'm full.
Mm.
And I'm full. I'm full every day. I'm not hungry.
Yeah.
Like I'm fully stuffed. And
Yeah.
so that's been really interesting too.
Yeah. Do you think so just to put a pin in it as well, like all of these like we've talked about a lot of changes now, right? In a lot of different areas
Yeah.
of your life. Do you attribute a lot of this change to the initial mindset work that we've done and the belief change work and the
Yeah,
identity work?
absolutely.
Like none of
Yeah.
all these other things that have happened would not have necessarily happened if you didn't start with like getting your mind in check.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was all started when we talked about my identity,
Yeah.
my values. And I remember even in the beginning, I was like, I need to lose 50 pounds. Like this was
Yeah.
one of my goals, but I didn't know where to start, right? And I
Yeah.
had a bad mindset around all these things.
Yeah.
If we didn't work on what my beliefs are,
Yeah.
I I wouldn't have identified them and known what to fix.
Yeah. Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah, so it's really crazy. I mean, I really feel like I'm gonna have everything that I've ever wanted because of this.
Yeah.
And
Awesome.
I don't mean that lightly. I mean everything that I would want.
Yeah. Yeah.
Health, the best relationships, the best relationship with my family, girlfriend, whatever. My the best I can be in business, the best body I can be, the
Yeah.
best mindset. All of those things all come from your beliefs and your identity
Yeah.
and identifying what your values are and shifting those beliefs, which is what we've worked on for the last year and a month or so.
Yeah, yeah. That's awesome, dude. Epic. I think that's an awesome note to finish on as well. Is there anything else that you want to add?
Yeah, I just want to add one last thing, and that is the message that you told me in the beginning.
Yeah.
And that is your beliefs change your thoughts. That changes the words that you say, the words that you tell yourself, the words that you say to others. That changes your actions that you take in life,
Hmm.
and that changes your overall results that you get in life.
Yeah.
And if you can work with somebody like yourself who can help you to install the right beliefs
Hmm.
and help you to see what your current beliefs are, change them into new beliefs, then work on that consistently, then you can get everything that you want in life. And I truly believe that, the 100% certain.
Awesome, dude. Epic. Yeah, thank you so much for jumping on. I know you said you were a little bit nervous at the start, but you've just been an absolute powerhouse, and this is going to be one of those reference points are going to be able to be like, you know what, like, look, yeah, boom, I,
Yeah,
I can do it, and that's awesome, man. I'm so proud of you, and I also just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to do this with me. I appreciate it.
absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Awesome.
Thank you.
I'm going to make a note as well. If anyone's watching this video and you would like some help, like what I've been able to help Chase with, then there will be a link to book a 15-minute call with me below this video. So that'll just be a 15-minute clarity call, and it'll be an opportunity for us to connect and to see if we're a good fit to work together, to see if I can help you. So if you would like some help, like I've helped Chase, just go and book in a call with me, and we can have a chat to see if it's going to work. But yeah, thank you again, Chase, for jumping on. And
Thank you for
yeah,
everything.
I've loved working with you, and I'm going to continue. I love working, like
Yep,
loving to work with you in the future because I know that you've got some big goals now, and we're kind of just getting warmed up. So yeah, I'm excited to see what
absolutely.
happens over the next kind of 6 months or so.
Yep. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you too.
Awesome, dude.